Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah. Well, hello, dummies, and welcome to another edition, the 29th edition of the stupidest sports show on earth. My name, of course, is Tim Sweetlou Van Stratton. With me is Rodney Newpol. Rodney, good Tuesday evening to you. Welcome to December 10th. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's nice and cold out and some snow coming tomorrow, but the sports are red hot right now. And I hit a pretty good lineup last night in that Monday night game. I know you had to kind of catch it secondhand or a little bit later in the night. Happy anniversary, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And but the old Captain Jamar Chase worked out pretty well for me last night.
Yeah, I ended up putting together a lineup, and I was like, I've been having a good string a little bit with DFS the last few days. So I was like, I'm going to keep it going by going like a little bit non-conventional. Everyone's going to play Chase. Everyone's going to play Burrow. So I'm going to go Captain CeeDee Lamb. First drive for Dallas, I was like, my God, I'm going to be so rich. And because CeeDee Lamb was, 4% captain, something ridiculous. No one was playing him. But also with that was me fading Jamar Chase. Yeah. I didn't mean to. I knew Jamar Chase would smash, but it's just I had to just to try to get different. And that was me leaving about 76 points on the board because he destroyed.
Yeah, what's our buddy Skeeter game theory or strategic game theory? Good process, but didn't work out for you.
But
the result was better than the process, by the way.
Right. The as host of the stupidest sports show, though, we don't subscribe to things like game theory. That's too much thought. It's just like, all right, what are the nerds doing? I'm going to do the opposite of that. So, like, all right, all the nerds are playing Jamar Chase. I'm just going to go CeeDee Lamb and just hope that Chase gets hurt. But I don't consider you a nerd. You just were like you were like Jamar Chase, good at football.
Good player. Good player. Hey, so here's how I put my lineup together. Jamar Chase, really good at football. Oh, I might as well play Joe Burrow with him because he throws for a lot of yards. Okay, Dallas. Oh, CeeDee Lamb. Okay, great. Another good player, Chase Brown. Oh shit, I don't have any money left. Okay. Lubke and I don't know what. Put a guy that didn't even get on the field, Jermaine Burton, on the lineup. I took a 0 last night. I took a 0 and a 1.5 and lost the contest by 3.3 points. If I would have played one of those garbage tight ends from Cincinnati, I would have won it.
Yeah. I got a nice 0 from Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah,
I mean, at least I could have paid for Lupke, who at least got a 1.5, had that extra money then, and then actually could afford Jamar Chase.
Yeah. So Jermaine Burton irritates me every time. Every time. I know. But I'm not real big on this Andre Yoshivas guy. So I don't understand why Jermaine Burton can't get a little bit of run. I mean, so he's their fourth receiver and he just doesn't get an opportunity. I was without begging for injury. I was begging for T. Higgins to leave the game last night to get Jermaine Burton his opportunity. I saw Jermaine Burton one time. He was one of the two guys back on a kick return and the ball went in the end zone. So he was like that guy that was going to be the first blocker. That was his role last night. That got me 0 fantasy points.
I remember him being a healthy scratch one week where he was like a healthy inactive, and it might have been a week 2 where T. Higgins wasn't even playing. Like whatever Jermaine Burton is doing, Zach Taylor is not feeling it because the guy lives in the doghouse. He has 4 catches all year, by the way.
Yeah, 4. Good play last night by me. But
he's a rookie. He's a 3rd-round rookie.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's a veteran guy who has some respect. Yeah, he's been active for a few games, but he had 1 catch on 2 targets in week 2, which was a 47-yarder, which was good. 1 catch against Philly on 3 targets, 1 catch against Baltimore on 5 targets, and then 1 catch against the Chargers for 4 targets. So maybe what this is that the guy is maybe dropping stuff, or it's not very good. And because I'm not going to put this on Joe Burrow, like that many targets, 12 targets and 3 catches over the course of 3 weeks with Joe Burrow as your quarterback. I have to think the receiver's doing something wrong there. And then he hasn't been involved in the offense since.
Yeah. No, I'm not putting it on Joe Burrow. In fact, Joe Burrow continues to be really good. He threw a couple of absolute darts last night. And I can't say his touchdown pass to win the game was the dart, because literally it was like, hey, you go out there, I'll throw it to you, and then the Cowboys guys will go whoop and let you score. But I really was hoping for Dallas to come back, because I don't know if you saw, I had that 2 touchdown each bet for CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase. And in fact, on DraftKings, I threw the over 51.5, which CeeDee Lamb's second touchdown would have put it over. It would have been about $1,000 win. But needless to say, it was a $10 loss instead. So, but good game last night. You missed a good one. Cincinnati, Colin Cowherd today was talking about, maybe they can be a 9-8 and get into playoffs. I don't see it, man.
They could. Well, here's the problem. They need one of the Chargers or the Broncos to just absolutely shit the bed the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked, and that's maybe something that we could do when we sort of do our like NFL preview later on, but one of those 4 teams needs to just, or one of those 2 teams needs to just collapse.
Yeah.
The good news is they play each other, next week?
Yeah.
So pretty much like whoever loses that game just needs to lose the rest of the way. Just everything falls apart for them. And then Cincinnati needs to win out.
Yeah, they have to win out, and they got a good opportunity first here with the Titans. That's obviously a game they can win. They got the Browns, rivalry game, but still a game you can win. Then they got the Broncos, which in their case, like they hoping the Broncos lose these next 2. So Broncos are host the Colts. They're at the Chargers, and then at the Bengals for the Broncos,
and then host the Chiefs week 18. Yeah. Chiefs could be sitting guys, could be maybe not. I don't know, but yeah, I think the Broncos. That's probably the best one. They need the Broncos to just lose 3 straight here. Bengals win 3 straight. Does that tie them? Does that put them both at 8 wins? Yes.
Yeah, but then going into that last game where the Bengals would have the Steelers and the Broncos
who probably have the division wrapped up at that point, though.
You would think, and then the Broncos are Chiefs. So it'll be interesting. And my Dolphins are still somewhat alive there as well, but they're going to need the same thing. I mean, they're in the same situation Cincinnati is. They need some help at 6 and 7, a game ahead of Cincinnati. But so it'll be interesting. And let's talk Chiefs real quick. You non-St. Louis Cardinal fans talk about devil magic all the time from the Cardinals, which is gone, by the way. But the devil magic has moved west from St. Louis to Kansas City into that football team.
It's still in Missouri. Oh, it's very much in Missouri still. Yeah. It's like you understand now what we say when we talk about this devil magic, where it's like, my God, how does this keep happening?
Yeah, no, it is. And they still don't wow me. I know. I mean, Patrick Mahomes wows me because he literally can do whatever. He always gets it done. That last play to Travis Kelce, where Travis Kelce was basically on a knee to catch the ball, to go down, to basically ice the clock, to kick a field goal. I mean, that was strategic, and Patrick Mahomes made that play. But he's still not dominating games, but he's dominating the game by just getting the right plays done. Cowherd, again, another Cowherd reference. He brought up a good point. Like, the Chiefs are only making Mahomes put on the Superman cape like 3 or 4 times a game. And whereas Josh Allen, on the other hand, literally has to walk to the stadium with the Superman cape on. And that's the difference between Buffalo and Kansas City.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to look at it. Like Mahomes, to me, because when we think about like Tom Brady, especially his older years, like Brady wasn't having these Josh Allen 6 touchdown games, right? But it was like every single time they needed a 3rd down conversion, every single time they needed to march down the field to get to get set up for a game-winning field goal, like Brady would make that play happen.
Yes.
And the stats, he wouldn't be leading the league and whatever, but he would get it done. And that's what Mahomes has done this year. Like, his stats are not at all worth MVP consideration. Yeah, I think his QBR too is 10th or 11th maybe in the NFL. He still has borderline top 10 quarterback just based on the stats. But if you need a 3rd down conversion, if you're down 10 points in the 4th and you need any quarterback in the NFL to get you, back in the game. Like, he's the guy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And I mean, it was kind of disappointing from their side to let the Chargers get back in the game, but that became more of like, hey, Harbaugh and his staff came up with a good second half plan, and Justin Herbert was really good in that second half to get them back in the game and then take the lead. And that it's another lesson for me to just never bet Kansas City spreads. Like, it's so silly to bet Kansas City spreads because you look at it, it's like, 3.5, 4.5. Oh, they could win that. But like,
they never do.
They're only going to win by whatever they need to win by. They're not going to score that final touchdown if they don't need to. They're going to go down at the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, 3. And so many times the Kansas City Chiefs have done this to me where they kick a field goal to win the game, but not cover the spread. It's insanity on my part to continue betting the Kansas City Chiefs, but they keep winning. Maybe I just need to do money line and suck up the juice.
Yeah. They're 5-8 against the spread this year, 4-7 as a favorite. It's the same thing. So let me ask you this, because I'm trying to figure this out too. Do you think that this team is just really saving itself for the playoffs? Like, they're totally fine winning these close games. They're fine not having these dominant efforts. Like, they're fine not going all out. I know that it's hard to football to play at 70% and then win when you got guys, great teams on the other side that are giving 100%. But like I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. Is it just they know when they need to step up and then they wait until those moments to step up? Or is it that they're 12-1, but like, they're not a dominant team. Like, this isn't the 2007 Patriots.
Yeah,
like the 2007 Patriots at this point in the year, their point differential was what, 250? This Chiefs team has the third best point differential in their own division.
Yeah. No, I think it's a combination of both. I think the Chiefs still are using a fairly vanilla play calling. I mean, they're not gonna show their hand on some things that we'll see in the postseason probably. And I mean, the defense is balling out too. I mean, the defense has been really good, and so. Yes, I think part of your answer is yes and no here. They're obviously not a dominating team, but they're going to be good enough to do whatever they need to do in the playoffs. I mean, but the defense is winning them games right now because I do think the offense is kind of like, hey, 70-80% is going to get it done. Let's not show our hand. Let's not tear up Travis Kelce, because he could get the ball more.
Yeah, well, that's who I think about the most too, because we saw it last year. Travis Kelce wasn't very dominant in the regular season for long stretches, and then they get to the playoffs, and he's getting double-digit catches week after week, and he's making all the big plays, and it's just vintage Kelce when they needed him.
Oh yeah, I mean, probably first game of the playoffs for them, I'm probably going to bet his 2 touchdown prop. Right. Yeah. I mean, it just makes sense, or see what his receptions are and bet the over, because like, what are they going to do when they get to the postseason? They're going to get the ball to their dudes, and their dude is still Travis Kelce. I know there's been a lot of talk about this Noah Gray cat and some of these other guys, but push comes to shove.
I'm so sick of him.
Kelce. Yeah. I mean, it's Travis Kelce. D-Hop good, but the push comes to shove. Ball's going to Travis Kelce when they need to, and it'll happen whenever they play that first round playoff game. Well, it'll be second round.
All right. So getting off the Chiefs here for a second, we talked a little Monday Night Football. That Bills-Rams game was football crack. That was awesome.
It was, and kudos to you. You mentioned kind of Saturday or Saturday, Josh Allen and his low ownership in DFS formats, and I threw a couple lineups in there, and I showed. I mean, we both did really well with those lineups. And my favorite lineup was a Josh Allen with those 3 replacement running backs. It'd be Garendo, Braylon Allen, and
Charbonnet, who exploded. Yeah.
And then you could pick your receivers, and if you happen to pick a Puka Nacua, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison combination, you cash pretty good. But Josh Allen is so good. He's so good. And I know, and honestly, like I would be, and it's going to go to Josh Allen right now, but I would be okay with co-MVPs of Josh Allen and Saquon Barkley. I really would. because they both completely impacted their team. Because, I mean, I'm kind of changing the page here, but like Jalen Hurts was bad on Sunday. And the Eagles still won because Saquon Barkley 150 yards again. I mean, and he wasn't even great, but like they don't have that. Same thing with Buffalo. If they don't have Josh Allen, honestly, I would go co-MVPs. I mean, I know that's a cop out. I know that's kind of a wussy answer, but those two guys, man,
it's not. It's happened before. There's precedent for it. This year makes sense for it, to be honest with you, because here's the thing. Josh Allen's stats, even when compared to other quarterbacks, like he's not in the top 10 in passing yards. He has 23 touchdowns, but he's behind Baker Mayfield. He's way behind Burrow. He's behind Lamar Jackson. So, but he has those things. But like you look at the Bills, anyone who's watched the Bills knows like how incredibly important he is and how like it makes sense. Like it just makes sense for him. And Saquon Barkley has the stats and also has the value of you see what he's done to the Eagles. Because I agree with you. Like Jalen Hurts in large stretch, not even just this past Sunday, hasn't been that good.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. And now him and A.J. Brown are kind of feuding, which on the other side makes me want to play A.J. Brown really bad this week in daily games. Like, okay, A.J. Brown's begging for the ball. A.J. Brown's begging for the ball. You know, what's the narrative? A.J. Brown gets the ball. So we'll see. But, I mean, that's not a surprise. I know it's not a surprise from you because, like, I'm guessing Sirianni, like, can't fix – like, he has no control over that locker room probably. I mean, those two are going to feud, and if those two are feuding, they're in trouble. Maybe it's not that big a deal, but basically A.J. Brown came out and said, we need to fix the passing game. Well, I would guess a quarterback would be a little offended by that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
The guy doing the passing?
Well, it's funny, too, and it's just the timing of it, too, because this is right around the time last year where everything fell apart for the Eagles.
Yeah.
And just to have that sort of cloud now hanging over you going into these last few weeks, it's not the best look in the world for them. And yeah, Sirianni, listen, they're winning games. It's good. But do I have faith that he has the temperament, that he has the ability, that he has the command of the locker room to get them past whatever issues they might have and to avoid a repeat of last year? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And these are still important games for the Eagles. They'll win the division, but there's a big difference between that 1 seed and that 2 seed. And you get that 1 seed, you get that home field advantage, you get that bye week in the playoffs. Yeah. Like that is massive, and they have a chance to do it still.
Yeah, and this is a big one this week for Philadelphia. Not only for continued NFC, but like you got to you want to beat the Steelers. I mean, a battle of Pittsburgh of Pennsylvania, like that's a big one for the state. And they don't want to lose that one. It's not quite Giants Jets, but it kind of is. It's, I mean, obviously interstate. It's not inner city, but it's a big one. So that should be a good one. We'll talk more week 15 on Friday, but that Eagles get to host that one. I think Philadelphia will bounce back in that one.
The Steelers haven't had the devil magic that the Chiefs have had this year in terms of just the blocked field goals and the field goals going off the thing and Isaiah Likely's toe being a fraction out of bounds, all of these things. But I still look at the Steelers and at some point I have to sort of admit that they're good. I'm still hesitant though, and I don't know why. Maybe this is finally the Sunday coming up at Philadelphia where I will fully get to determine if the Steelers are for real or not.
Yeah, but after Philadelphia, it's at Baltimore with Kansas City and with Cincinnati. So
that so we're gonna know.
Yeah, I mean 10-3, the Steelers are making the playoffs.
They'll win the division.
Yes, maybe not though. I mean the Ravens are 2 games back. They play each other. Pittsburgh still got a couple other challenging games. So regardless, they're both making the playoffs. But yes, we're going to find out if Pittsburgh's for real. That's a gauntlet right there. That's probably one of the toughest stretches of any 4 games you're going to find this year of any team. I mean, because even that Bengals game in week 18, like we've already talked about, Bengals maybe playing for something, but even at that big divisional game, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals. Wow.
That's a tough stretch.
Yes, very, very much.
Tough stretch for for like a team that has looked impressive against a couple decent opponents this year, but I think that's going to be the real test for them. Can I bring up another Week 14 talking point for you?
Yeah,
something that we have vehemently disagreed on, but I'd like to point out that I have seen several national pundits start to be on my side with this. I don't know if the Falcons can keep playing Kirk Cousins. I know you're going to disagree. I'm just pointing out that there is now national media that is saying that they don't know how long this can continue.
Okay.
The Falcons are now they're 6-7. They're 6-7. Okay. That lead is totally gone. Totally gone. They're behind Tampa. Kirk Cousins again threw 2 interceptions. I think what is it? His last 4 weeks, he's thrown 8 interceptions.
Yeah.
And has he even thrown a touchdown? Like I don't
No, 0.
Right. This is not the time to bullshit. Like they drafted a guy in the top 10 because they believe that he is a franchise quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So you can't afford to just keep losing these games. You can't do it. You've already lost the division lead. If you have any sort of hope, this is where you make the move. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So I will give you this. Yes, it is probably time, but we did have a discussion on Friday. Would it happen? You said yes. I said no. I think I'm going to be right unless something changes midweek because the Falcons have come out and said it. But I also mentioned you don't do it for that Monday night game because this is still an opportunity for Kirk Cousins, as bad as he's been, to right that ship a little bit. The Raiders, the Giants, back-to-back games. He can beat them. And then it's okay. And now it's, I've won 2 in a row. I'm now 8-7. Tampa Bay falls somewhere. If Tampa Bay falls and the Falcons win these next 2 games, well, Falcons still control that division. Yes, they don't control it today. So, yes, Kirk Cousins has been terrible. Don't. I'm not bullshitting on that one. He's been terrible. But I just don't like the idea of doing it before a Monday night game. I mean, it's your veteran quarterback. I still think he can win that game. Now, if they lose the Raiders, unfortunately, their season's about over if they lose the Raiders.
But yeah, if they go down by 2 weeks, I don't know who Tampa has this week, and maybe you could pull up their schedule real quick. But yeah, if the Falcons can't beat a 2-win Raiders team that is currently sitting at the first or second draft pick going into next year, I don't care that it's in Vegas. I think you have to pull the plug.
Yeah. So another thought is like, okay, Kirk Cousins starts, struggles, Penix comes in.
I wouldn't be surprised about that either. To prepare him, maybe give him, and maybe we'll see him practice. Like, does he get first team reps this week? And kind of give you that idea of just in case. So
Tampa Bay, as easy as we talked about their schedule being, is now. I mean, at the Chargers this week, they're underdogs. Tampa is underdogs at the Chargers.
That makes sense. That's a tough game.
Look, Chargers are 3-point favorites at home, and I'll be honest. Next week, Tampa at Dallas. That's not a gimme. I mean, I get it. Dallas has been garbage. But like Sunday night football at Dallas, Cooper Rush has been better. Dallas is at least trying. McCarthy's still trying to win games with them. So that's not a gimme. And then it's the Panthers and Saints in the last 2 for Tampa Bay. So there is still an opportunity for Atlanta, especially this week with them playing the Chargers, Atlanta playing the Raiders. I mean, that if Atlanta wins and the Buccaneers lose, now you're looking at 3 games left. Atlanta has that lead in the division because of the tiebreaker. So, yeah, I'm not ready. Okay, I do think it is time for Penix, but it's not going to happen before Monday, and I'm okay with that. But I'm also, Penix, you need to be ready for Monday night because you might be coming in. We get behind, and Kirk can't get us in the end zone because he simply can't get he can't get in the end zone right now. He turns it over. We can't get in the end zone. We might look at you a drive or 2 here, Michael. So be ready.
What's his contract? Well, I know that they signed him 4 years, but like, what's the out there? Because if they do end up going to Penix the last few weeks here, presumably that's saying, hey, we're going to go with you now and moving forward. And then suddenly Kirk is just sitting there as a very expensive backup. Like, did they do the contract to where they can get out of it that first year? Or is it after the second year?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how the contract worked. I know Dan Patrick was talking about he wouldn't be surprised if Kirk Cousins is retired next year. Yeah, I know. I mean, with a 4-year contract, you wouldn't think that would be part of the deal. I don't know how it all works with his outs, but yes, $27.5 million next year. You're not walking away from that, right? Like, you're not walking away from it. Now, if the Falcons can get out of it, sure. 35 in 2026 and 2027. So whereas I respect and like Dan Patrick, like, I don't know if that's going to happen. Kirk Cousins is going to find his way in here, but where does he go? Like, if the Falcons don't use him because they're using Penix, like, where's he going? Is there a market for him? No.
On like a very cheap veteran deal.
But doesn't see, and that's where that's probably Dan Patrick's point is, like, does he do that? No. He's got a family, he likes doing things with his family. It's time to give it up, right? I mean, if somehow they get out of this contract, might just say, you know what, I think it's about done.
Yeah, he's still third in the. I know passing yards. It's not really the best judge of a quarterback. He's third in the league in passing yards, but now it's 17 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. It's just it unraveled. Man, the first few weeks it was looking very, very good, and then just something changed. I don't know when the turning point was, but they're unraveling, and it stinks. And honestly, I worry that the Falcons could be in that situation where, like, if let's say they lose, the last, they finish 7-10, right?
Yeah.
After the way that they started. Like, does Raheem Morris even have a job still?
Yeah, I mean, we're in these one and done for these head coaches. I mean, I do think he survives. He survives this because, like, how much of this Kirk Cousins as the starting quarterback was on Raheem Morris, or was this a general manager front office decision? Penix. I mean, that whole thing was weird to start with. So I'm guessing Morris makes it through, but yeah. I mean, is there going to be another head coach? Because Antonio Pierce is probably gone, right? Like, they're going to draft Shadir Sanders. Like, they're not going to put Antonio Pierce as his head coach.
Well, if Dion likes Antonio Pierce, then maybe that's the case, and all indications are, yeah. I mean, like, Antonio Pierce. Here's the thing, though, with Antonio Pierce and the Raiders, it doesn't seem like they have quit on him. It doesn't seem like he's lost the locker room. The losses that they've had the last couple weeks, like, they look like a team that's actually trying. It's very different than watching the Giants per se, where the Giants, it just seems like they're totally just defeated. So that's kind of my hope with Antonio Pierce, that maybe they give him one more year and they're like, hey man, we kind of gave you crap at quarterback. Minshew got hurt. O'Connell's now hurt. Like, what else are you supposed to do with it? But as long as they just show some sort of toughness and fight, then I think that if they hire a good offensive coordinator, I don't know who did they fire? They fired Luke Getsy, right? Isn't that who? Yeah, which that makes sense.
Yeah. So O'Connell wants to play Monday night after getting hurt. I mean, it's Desmond Ridder. Like,
what would be good for the Raiders? Hear me out here. They keep Antonio Pierce. They draft Shador. And why not see if Pat Shurmur wants to make the move with him from Colorado and become Vegas's offensive coordinator? And worst case, let's say Antonio Pierce, second full season, still not working out. Shadur's not developing. See ya. And then Pat Shurmur is a guy. He's had 2 different stints as a head coach. He's a respected veteran guy. He comes in, he's your interim.
Or better yet, Dion becomes head coach.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's what that will be is definitely people won't talk about it. It'll fly under the radar. a nice quiet environment for Shador to thrive. I saw something, by the way. This is just me sort of perusing on the internet. Some Do you know the name Nevin Shapiro, like the old like Miami booster who was in? Yeah. So he was on some podcast today, and he guaranteed, just based on the people that he talked to and all that, he's very plugged into University of Miami stuff. He was like guaranteeing without a doubt that Cam Ward is going to be a New York Giant, and that Miami's offensive coordinator is going with him and going to be on the staff of the Giants, and that Dion has basically said he doesn't want the Giants taking Shador, he doesn't want Shador going there, whatever. So like, take that for what it's worth. And I'm not surprised if that's the case, if Dion would rather have Shador in Vegas, and then that leaves Cam Ward for the Giants. But
yeah, I mean, if Dion plans to stay in Boulder, that trip from Boulder to Vegas is going to be a lot simpler than out to New York City all the time.
Yeah. And you look at the Giants franchise the last few years, it's not a place that shows, stability and growth.
But that brings up the next question. Is Deion Sanders head coach at Colorado next year?
I do think so still. Yeah. I do think so. I think that, they got that Julian Lewis kid, their new quarterback recruit. I think he does like coaching college.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Football playoff.
Yeah. Like, I think he could still get him there.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's going to be, we have no idea. That's the problem. That's not the problem. That's the cool part about college football. We have zero idea who's going to be any good next year. 1,250 players entered the portal. We have zero idea. And that's kind of cool because like in the old days, it was like, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, and Clemson are going to be in the college football play. We have zero idea. And we had zero idea Arizona State, SMU, and some of those guys were in it this year. That's cool. So yes, Colorado has a chance for sure. Cause he's going to get dudes, he's going to get dudes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And his appeal to me, it definitely screams college football a lot more than it screams NFL. His whole shtick of like teaching you how to be a man and all this stuff. Like, imagine him going into an NFL locker room and there's a bunch of 30-year-old dudes that just have families. Like, it's gonna be like, the hell is this?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, maybe, you mentioned it. Maybe I don't give him enough credit. He probably is a very good mentor. I mean, it seems like that's kind of what his thing is. And I don't know how good of an X and O football coach he is, but
I don't think he is. I don't think he is one. Like, I think that he is purely motivator, recruiter, and he's built a good staff. Like Pat Shurmur, for a college football offensive coordinator, like Pat Shurmur is exceptional considering that he was an NFL head coach. Like he knows the X's and O's, and they got guys on both sides of the ball that are great, but they also just have exceptionally talented players. To work with.
For sure. But I find that interesting where Dion will go this offseason. Again, 1,250 players have entered the transfer portal.
We've gone about 34 minutes. We've not once said anything about Bill Belichick on the verge of becoming the North Carolina head coach. Like, we're talking about Deion Sanders making the jump to the pros potentially. Bill Belichick becoming a college football head coach at 72 years old seems insane to me.
Yes, but like, because of the nature of how college football is going, like, it's like the minor leagues. It's a professional league now. And we've heard like the 400-page document that he's given to North Carolina about this is the business model. I mean, he's going to get all the right assistants. He's going to get a general manager in there. He's not going to go door to door or kitchen table to kitchen table for these recruits. He's just not. He's going to have guys that know who the players are. Guys are going to want to play for him because they're going to want to go to the NFL. They're going to be like, hey, can Bill get me the NFL? If you can get me the NFL, I'll go play for him. I mean, in Chapel Hill, they got cool jerseys. They got the Jumpman logo. I mean, that's a cool place to go. So I don't hate the idea of 72-year-old Bill Belichick with a 26-year-old girlfriend going. Like, his girlfriend might still be in college there. That's the weird part. Yeah. But yeah, I don't hate it.
I don't necessarily hate it. I'm more confused by it. It was not at all what I was expecting. And especially because he's so close to the all-time wins record in the NFL. by taking this job, by putting in all of this work with the 400-page manifesto and the full staff, it's something that you sort of do where this is probably the last coaching job that he has. And it's like that to me just seems strange because it's not at all what I was anticipating.
But do you think there's anything in the NFL that he's finding out that maybe the NFL just doesn't want him anymore?
Well, maybe this past offseason, it seemed like he was very interested in the fact that the Falcons, who were very much in win now mode, who made that obvious by signing Kirk Cousins, decided, you know what, we're not going to do that. We're instead going to hire our former interim coach who we let go a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm almost wondering if the NFL is kind of given the impression of, hey, Bill, like, we don't really want you. I mean, we don't really want you anymore. And so Bill goes to Chapel Hill, wins for 3 or 4 years, and then his son becomes the head coach. I mean, that's a big deal for him. It sounds like Steven Belichick then becoming the head coach. And I mean,
Matt Patricia is obviously going to be the defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, because that went real well in Detroit. Yeah, no, he is. He is. I mean, he's
Matt Patricia, Josh McDaniels, and Joe Judge will be on his North Carolina staff.
Yeah,
I don't want. If I'm a college kid, I don't want to play for any of those dudes. No, I'm only going because it's just I could say Bill Belichick was my head coach. It's the only reason.
Yeah, how you going to get me to the league, Bill? That's the question we're asking. But I mean, North Carolina is like second, maybe third in charge of the ACC. So like they are another team. Why can't they make the college football playoff, right? Like SMU was there this year out of the ACC. Why can't North Carolina? You know they're going to have a shitload of money, right? Like the NIL. I mean, Bill's going to get the guys that bring the money in. They're going to get dudes and
have Michael Jordan show up at a kid's house. You know,
that's what I'm saying. Like. Yeah, I mean, and then so it'll be interesting, but I am very curious if they do finally pull this, pull the final trigger and he becomes the head coach, how this process goes.
Yeah, I love the idea of him just working with these college kids. Like he goes from Tom Brady and Teddy Bruschi and like all of these guys, right? Julian Edelman, and then he has just 18-year-old from South Carolina.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. I mean, in North Carolina, it goes from Mac Brown to Bill Belichick. I mean, so I mean, the dudes that are still there, and I don't know how many guys they're going to retain. I mean, some of these programs, everybody's going in the portal, but I mean, they're going to be used to playing for older head coaches. That's for sure.
Yeah. Does he still wear the hoodie, except instead of that gray that he had with the Patriots, it's that nice Carolina blue?
Yeah. Yeah. The hoodies with the cutoff sleeves. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious if they finally pull that trigger this week.
I mean, it seems like they will, right? Like, are they really going to say, hey, Bill Belichick wants to be the head coach. We're not going to do it. And that's probably just too stupid a way to look at it. There's a lot of demands that he's asking for, but this is potentially, if it goes well, right? If it goes well, this is something that like North Carolina football, which in my lifetime, North Carolina football has never been anything to really get excited about. This could be generational for them.
Yeah, for sure. You would think they would get this done. You're right. But and they met for 5 hours on a Sunday. They literally met for 5 hours on a Sunday. So they are obviously somewhat serious or very serious about this. I just hope they don't, we're going to start talking to other people and then Bill gets frustrated and
no,
because I would like to see it happen.
Yeah. No, I want to see it happen too, just for the storyline. Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Should we talk about college football playoff? We've kind of alluded to it a few different times.
Yeah, for sure. So it's kind of, there's going to be changes to this over the next couple years. And in fact, even in the next year, because like Penn State probably has the easiest route, even losing to Oregon. Like Oregon did not get any favors being the number 1 seed. They're going to have to play Tennessee or Ohio State. Penn State, on the other hand, looks like they got an SMU team, and then they're going to get Boise State second round. I mean, so
Boise State, yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe we need to look at just and here's another thing. Like, I'm not a very smart guy here, so like I see one number of what they were ranked and then another number of what they are seeded, and I like my head just starts spinning. Like, just have one number. We got one number. We got here's your seeds. Here you go. 1 through 12, seed them 1 through 12, and let's move on. But like, so they're ranked 4, but they're seeded 7. Like, what? That's overkill.
Yeah,
but it's going to be a great college football playoff.
I think it is. It is. I'm very excited about it. It's much better to me than the way that they had it before with only the 4 teams. But yeah, in my mind, I think the happy compromise is if you win your conference, you're automatically guaranteed a spot in the playoff. Not necessarily a top 4 spot, but you're in the playoff. Like Arizona State, congratulations, you won. You're in. You're the 12th seed because like you were 16th just a day before. Like to go from 16 to then suddenly you're considered a top 4 team in the country where so they get the bye and they're going to play, who is it in it's the 5-12 matchup, right?
Is that the Penn State? That's Penn.
Or who's Arizona? Oh, so they play Texas or Clemson, right?
Yeah, which is
either of those, whoever wins that is going to be a pretty substantial favorite against Arizona State, especially if it's Texas. Like that shouldn't be the case if you're considered a top 4 team in the nation and you get a first round bye. Presumably, too, if Penn State ends up beating SMU, which I think they will, and then they end up going to face Boise State, Penn State's going to be favored in that game most likely.
Yeah,
it's just that to me seems like where the changes will be made, and I don't think anyone would complain about it if Arizona State, which was in the teens all year, was never once considered a top 10 team in the nation. They make the playoff, but they're not given a top 4 seed. Because if they went by the ranking, then it's Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Penn State are your top 4. I don't have a problem with that.
No problems with that at all. And I think you'll see 14 teams coming up real soon as well. Another expansion, getting up to 14 teams. And there's always going to be that debate. I think most people outside of the true diehards of the Crimson Tide and then the true SEC or bust people, like everybody knew Alabama shouldn't be in, right? Like Alabama shouldn't have been in. And then you got, and in fact, then when bowl committees did their homework, they even put South Carolina ahead of Alabama, and Bama's going to they're going to some other bowl. I think they're playing, who are they playing? They're not playing in a real prestigious bowl, whereas South Carolina gets to go. They're playing Michigan, but they're playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl. I mean, Michigan.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite bowl. Yeah,
yeah. Could you even know where the ReliaQuest Bowl is? I do. It's in Tampa, but
I was gonna guess. I was gonna guess somewhere southeast. I probably would have guessed like South Carolina or something.
Yeah, I mean, so Alabama Michigan is a very brand bowl game. But South Carolina actually got the better deal going to the Citrus Bowl, the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, and taking on the Fighting Illini.
That was a college football playoff semifinal last January, Alabama, Michigan, at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, and another team.
It was a great game. And then less than a year later, they're playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa.
Whereas Washington, another one of those teams, went 6-6, and they're playing in the Sun Bowl against Louisville. So, yeah, I mean, that's what's going to happen in college football is like you're probably going to struggle to see continued dominance, mostly because of that portal. And like you can't stockpile the 5 stars anymore either. Like, some of these programs would stockpile 5 stars. They'd have a guy go to the NFL. They'd bring another 5-star. Well, if that 5-star is not playing, he's leaving. He's going somewhere else where he can play right away.
So and NIL too is also the thing that can level the playing field too. We just saw it today with in college basketball. The number 1 high school recruit in the nation chooses BYU over Kansas, North Carolina, and Alabama.
Yeah, and something like
right?
$7.2 million coming in NIL
Yeah.
money from the Mormons.
Yeah.
And we had this side conversation today. There's a lot of money, and that's a sleeping giant in Provo. I mean, BYU is a program, if they put their mind to it and if they decide, hey, we're going to be serious about our athletics, that move to the Big 12 helped them. Now they can really put money in there. I think his name's Mike White, the head coach there, the basketball coach. Like he knows how to coach pro dudes. They're going to have guys. That's the program to look out for, both basketball and football.
Yeah, I mean they were very close to being a college football playoff team this year. And we've seen the basketball team ascend the last couple of years. I would imagine that I think you're absolutely spot on. And with the move to the Big 12, that's just going to keep progressing for them. But just going back to what we were saying before, like between NIL, transfer portal, everyone has a chance to be good. Everyone has a chance that if they put the commitment to it, if they finance it, they can have a chance. Like it does even the playing field quite a bit. And that's what's exciting. Now, what also, and I'm just playing sort of the other side of this here, is as a result of that, you don't have the teams that we normally do where it's like, oh, I know this team is excellent. It's dominant. Like I look at Oregon. Oregon was undefeated, number one team. I don't think Oregon is an elite, unbeatable team by any means. Not like what we've seen in years past where, Georgia a couple of years ago, LSU the year with Joe Burrow. Like those teams, I knew like this is one of the best college football teams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to have teams like that for a while. Like you're going to need to just hit on generational level, quarterback, coach, just talent all over the field. Like it's going to be very hard to do that because all the guys are just spread out now.
Yeah. It's a one by 1 year at a time. It's a 1 year. You better really take advantage of that 1 year. You got to put all your eggs in that 1 year basket, and then you start over basically, or you build some. But yeah, I agree. I wanted to give a shout out Zazzy in the comments there. Zazzy235. Sup guys, just thought I'd tune in. Thanks Zazzy for tuning in tonight. If you got anything you want to throw out at us, let's hear it.
So Rodney, I'll ask you this. So right now, just real quick, rapid fire, and we'll probably end up doing a little bit more in depth like next week. So right now, Ohio State, Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll favor the home team, although Tennessee's tougher. Tennessee is tough. I still think Ohio State's soft. I know this isn't rapid fire. Ohio State's a little soft. Be careful there at home. I'm taking the home team, but Ohio State's on upset alert.
Texas, Clemson.
I'm gonna take Texas.
Oh, you are not confident in that. I see it. I see it right now. You wanted to take Clemson so bad.
Steve Sarkisian is supposed to be an offensive genius. He was not. And in fact, his overtime play calling was very weak. That did not allow them to score a touchdown in that playoff game or in that conference final. He needs to be better. Texas needs to be better. But I'm going to take Texas. The Horns. Horns up.
Penn State, SMU.
You know what? I'm going to take SMU. The athleticism of SMU is real good. Probably a bad choice because Penn State really, but like big game, James Franklin. This would qualify as a big game, right? Like, and you can't go against the trends of James Franklin does not win big games. I'll go SMU.
Notre Dame, Indiana.
I got to go Irish. Good story from Signetti and the Hoosiers. And Indiana winning this game would be one of the biggest stories in Indiana sports history.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see it happening. I like what Marcus Freeman's done with Notre Dame since that loss. I feel like they've been tough. It's so crazy because Marcus Freeman, after the Northern Illinois loss, the headlines were Marcus Freeman on the end of his run at Notre Dame because he's going to get fired because they're not going to make the college football playoff. Now, a week ago, Marcus Freeman was one of the names mentioned to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. So
you know what? I did see that. Yeah. I did see that.
Within 6 weeks, Marcus Freeman went from you're going to be fired as the head coach of Notre Dame because you lost the game to Northern Illinois to now you are going to be the head coach of one of the oldest and most popular franchises in all the National Football League.
And one of the dumbest.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's dumb. Yes. I mean, so, but anyways, that's who I'll take. Zazzy has a quick question for us. Army, Navy, I'm taking Army.
Yeah. Navy season fell apart a little bit here. Army's a much better team. Are you sad at all that Army one loss isn't going to make it to the play? Like one loss against a team that was ranked top 4 AP, and that's their one loss all year.
Yeah, Notre Dame killed them. I mean, if we're gonna go by that, go by the metrics of records and stuff like that, one loss team.
Let me ask you this: if Clemson lost and didn't make the playoff, so Alabama was the first team out, right? Or was Miami?
Alabama was the first team out.
Would you have tried to make a case for Army getting into that final spot at 12 over Alabama or Miami or whatever? Like it'd be hard. Like it's one of those things where if those two teams played, Alabama, I'm sure would just kill Army. Yeah. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that they deserve to be in the playoff because they had a worse season.
Right.
They had more losses. They weren't good losses.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard anytime for Army to get that opportunity to. I mean, those teams are going to have to run the table, unfortunately. And really,
that sucks. You have to go undefeated in order to have a chance.
Yeah, and it's really kind of baloney because Alabama's non-conference schedule was not very good. They're talking about, we need to weaken our schedule. If we're going to have, your losses, Alabama, came to a 6-6 conference team in Vanderbilt and a 6-6 conference team in, who was the last one they lost to?
They lost to Oklahoma.
And they scored 3 points against them. So, your losses came in conference play where you laid eggs against 6-6 teams.
Yeah. I don't get. I'm very thankful that they missed the playoff. I would have felt sick for SMU if Alabama got in ahead of them. I'm glad that the committee had some sort of sense this year. Like you couldn't do it with Alabama this year. Like you just couldn't.
Yeah, but I'll play the devil's advocate here. So SMU doesn't score 17 points in the fourth quarter and tie that game. And lose to Clemson by the 17-point spread. Alabama's in.
Yeah, I probably. I think SMU losing the way they did, it took a guy hitting a career high field goal right to avoid overtime to win that game for Clemson. Yeah, that was a great effort, great comeback for SMU, and I think that it proved that they're a legitimate good football team.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though about this first round, real quick, because you gave your predictions. I'm looking at the 4 first round matchups here. Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, he's a good coach. I really like the Indiana coach though, and just what he's been able to do in his first year there. But the other 3 in particular, Tennessee versus Ohio State, I don't have any confidence in Ryan Day. We're looking at Clemson, Texas, Dabo or Sark. I'm probably taking Dabo there. And then I don't even know the coach at SMU. I apologize, but I'm taking him over James Franklin. So it's I look at these teams that are favorites, but it's I don't know if I like their coaches more than the other coaches. And that's what intrigues me, thinking that we might get a couple upsets that first round here and just throw the whole thing into chaos.
Yeah, I mean, and can teams win on the road? Now, I've heard this brought up too. Though the problem is those 8 teams that are playing those first week, they're going to have to win 4 games.
Yeah.
So I don't know it would probably be the toughest stretch of 4 games that anybody it would be. I mean, essentially that anybody's seen all year. And are you going to be able to bounce back? Like take Ohio State, for example. They're going to get beat up physically by Tennessee because Tennessee's a bunch of dudes. And then they're going to have to go and play Oregon. I I don't know, man. I think winning 4 games is going to be awfully tough. And let's say they do beat Oregon. Now they still have 2 more they have to win after getting beat up by Tennessee and beat up by Oregon. That's why, Oregon and Georgia are in really good spots. They're a really good spot. They're in a really good spot. And you could say maybe Arizona State, Boise State, but I just don't know if they're good enough to be in a good spot, right? I don't think they're a better team. So it'll be interesting.
That extra game, that extra wear and tear, it's gonna be a huge factor, absolutely. And it's fun that we'll see how it affects these teams going in. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get, what do you think? 2 of those teams playing the first weekend? Do you think 2 of them make the Final Four? Do you think maybe just 1?
Yeah.
It's basically like whoever plays Arizona State probably beats Arizona State, and then maybe Boise State. I don't know. Like Boise State. I mean, Notre Dame could beat Georgia. I could see it.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up this real quick. South Alabama, not super familiar. And I don't know if Zazzy's talking football or basketball here, because they are in the conference championship. They are making a bowl game. They're playing soon. Their basketball team is 6-3. So I don't know if he's talking basketball or football here.
I know Ethan Kaiser, Metamora legend, plays for South Alabama.
But South Alabama actually plays the first bowl game coming up this Saturday against Western Michigan. That is the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm sure that'll be well watched on. So he is talking football. They went 6-6 this year out of the Sun Belt, but we're not real good out of the Sun Belt. I mean, they got smoked by Georgia Southern. They got smoked by Texas State. They got smoked by Arkansas State. So, I mean, I'll be honest, Zazzy, I don't know much more about South Alabama. I did know they played, and I do know they scored 87 points in a game this year, back early in the season against Northwestern State. Yeah, they scored 87.
Man, 8 p.m. Saturday night on ESPN, that was a pretty good time slot.
No, it is, but it's the Crampton Bowl.
You know what? There's going to be a lot of people out at the bars that just have, because the bars are going to put ESPN on. That's going to be a great game that everyone's watching, but they don't hear what's actually happening, but they just got eyes on it because they're all out.
Yeah, but you know what else? You know what else is Saturday night?
This Saturday? What?
Yeah, the Heisman.
Oh yeah. No, you know what else too? The NBA Cup semifinals are Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of that, congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks for being in the
playing
Final
the winner of Hawks or Knicks.
Yeah, Knicks are going to win that one, right?
Do you think we get the Trae Young, Madison Square Garden 60 burger?
Oh yes, the old Garden game with Trae Young. Oklahoma City's up 11 on Dallas. No, I mean, last I knew, Trae Young was questionable to even play.
Yeah. That's just what he wants you to think.
Yeah, so he can score 60 in the Garden.
Trae Young, I feel like, was getting the same sort of hype that like Ja Morant was just a few years ago, and now I feel like he's totally irrelevant. As far as the media conversation, I never hear about Trae Young at all.
And still very good.
He's very good. Remember, he took them to the Eastern Conference Finals just a couple years ago.
Yeah,
and no one cares.
Yeah. Hey, you want to get to our best bet for betting results? All right, let's do it.
We did not have South Alabama in these best bets, by the way.
So I can pat myself on the back a little bit. I did go 4-0 this week in the best bets for betting.
Spoiler alert.
I am now a robust 33-20-2 in the best bets for betting. I apologize. My Substack's been in and out of commission here, trying to work on a few things. It will be back pretty regularly, especially with these college football games, NFL, and then start diving into college basketball and NBA. So it is still coming. I'm glad you guys subscribed. It'll be coming. I don't know if we're going to get anything out of you, Tim, but I will continue to contribute.
I've needed a mental reset for a while for good reason, as you could see by my best bet for best bet for betting record, which is not as good as yours. Are you sure that you updated mine? Because I feel like, because I had a very good weekend for my standards, and yet it's still just a horrible record. Was it really that bad before?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were 18-32-1 before this.
Golly.
Yeah. So my first one was the Boise State Broncos. My boy Ashton Genty Friday night. They were a big time winner. They won easily. He's still my Heisman.
That was a snoozer though of a game. It was kind of a dud.
Yeah. But he was fine. He was good, and they won.
My first of two college football money lines. We had Georgia. This one I kept going back and forth. Quite a good game, quite a good ending. I honestly didn't know. I felt like it could have gone very much to Texas as well, but Georgia survived. We haven't talked about. Is Carson Beck going to play?
No.
So is he donezo?
He's done.
So okay. So we're looking at this bracket. And we're talking about Georgia's in very good shape. Georgia's got a backup quarterback.
Yeah, but a 5-star.
Okay, but it hasn't made a college football start yet, has he?
No, no timetable for him. He's out. He's not going to play in that game. Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe you could find him playing. I mean, they get a little extra time off, but I don't think you'll see Carson Beck in that game. So
anyway, Carson Beck and his just limp arm going out there and handing the ball off for that walk-off touchdown in overtime. What a memory! What a great sport, football. Yeah. But yeah, I had Georgia money line, Texas. That's a boom.
Yeah, and so the Clemson Tigers were my second one. Looked great, then looked sweaty. I did not like the idea of going to overtime with a hot SMU team that had just scored 17 straight to send it to overtime. Well, I didn't need it, and that was really one of the incredible final seconds of the game with the long kickoff return, the one play, and then the true freshman kicker winking at the camera before he kicked a 1,000-yard field goal in his hometown, by the way, in Charlotte. Coming back to Charlotte, I can't even tell you the guy's name because college kickers, I don't know, nor do I really care. He'll be in the league soon, then we'll know. But Clemson Tigers picked up a win. I moved to 2-0 on the weekend.
I miss when college kickers were bad.
yeah. Well,
there's like no field goal was a gimme, and now these guys can go out there and just drill these 56-yarders. It's disgusting.
Well, they have tree trunks as legs. I mean, they do. Some of these dudes can kick it forever.
Rodney clearly copied me. Well, actually, no, because you just had the spread. I took their money line again. We needed to make up some units, and we did. Again, sweaty, very sweaty, but Dabo and them boys went from ass to gas this year.
Yeah, so, good. Yeah, congratulations to them. So then I moved to Sunday, and I picked up a win in Tampa. Tampa 6.5 over the Raiders. Baker and the boys is more a poor play by the Raiders, to be honest with you. Not very good. Lost their quarterback. They competed, but still weren't very good. A
little sweaty. I mean, going into the fourth quarter, it's a 4-point game.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was a little sweaty. Antonio Pierce, like you said, gave it his effort, but Tampa Bay came away with the win, and they now lead the NFC South. And I moved to 3-0.
All right, I'm officially ready to declare something. I'm done betting the Arizona Cardinals in any capacity.
Yeah.
Just immediately, within seconds of that game starting, I was like, oh, that was a terrible bet. They looked like ass. Seahawks cruised. Charbonnet exploded. I mean, you were right on with the Seahawks, man. I was wrong there, but they're 8-5 now. They're rolling 5-1 away from home this year, which is pretty good.
Yeah, Seahawks come to Chicago a day after Christmas on a Thursday night game. So that road prowess will have to take on the Bears the day after Christmas.
And the Cardinals, I feel like their Cinderella run is over.
Yeah. So which brings up the point. We're not gonna because we're over an hour already. But tomorrow, Thursday night's Rams 49ers game is a massive game. It's a massive game because both those teams are still, they're still alive. Seattle, obviously, the teams are feeling like they could still fall somewhere along the way. But a massive game because they both came away with the win. Both banged up, San Francisco and LA, but massive game on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, if Rams win, they go to 8-6.
Yep.
They're right there in the wild card mix at minimum. And then Seattle, who does Seattle have? They're Sunday night against Green Bay. They host Green Bay, but that's not a gimme.
No.
So,
yeah. My final one was it counts. It counts. It doesn't matter how ugly it was. I don't think the Dolphins ever led, and they never led by more than 6. But we sent it to overtime because it's the Jets. And the Dolphins, Jonnu Smith drive there. Impressive drive. Screen pass, pass across the middle, touchdown. Dolphins win by 6. Don't need the extra point kick. 4-0 weekend for me. Congratulations to me.
To you. No, it was a very good weekend. And the Dolphins are still in the mix. I don't think they're going to do it, but they're still in the mix. But yet I'm going to sit here every single time we do a show and tell you why I think the Bengals still have a chance.
Yeah.
I'm such a sucker for Joe Burrow. I can't quit him. I can't do it. All right. And then this one was just so much fun. We talked a lot about the Rams last week, and we're like, this is right around the time where they start to pick things up. And I just like them. Buffalo was coming off of a AFC division win. I thought, maybe the cross-country trip might get Buffalo a little bit. And honestly, I think it could have had Josh Allen not had the absolute game of his freaking life. But, I mean, Stafford, Puka, Kyren, Kupp, that's still a really damn good offense that the Rams can throw at you. And, that was impressive. And they get the 2-point win outright. But, plus 3.5 cash. That's 3-1 for me.
There is no head coach in the NFL that is more kind fantasy-wise to his studs than Sean McVay.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that
I will gladly take the occasional DeMarcus Robinson touchdown because I know that I'm still going to get healthy dose of Puka, healthy Kyren, healthy Cooper Kupp. As long as those guys are out there, they're going to get fed, which I appreciate.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're going to get so much value out of those guys. And that's why their prices in DFS games are going way up, and it's impossible to afford them all. And the maddening part is you play Kupp and Puka goes off. You play Puka and Kupp goes off. But Puka Nacua is that dude. He's good. He is so good. And we said the same thing about Cooper Kupp a couple years ago. And obviously the Rams are doing the right things to pick up these guys. But they're dangerous. We've mentioned this a couple weeks in a row now. The Rams are not a team you want to see in the playoffs.
No, not at all. Not at all. We talked too, that lineup that I had on Sunday that hit really nice with Josh Allen, where he was 6% ownership. You know who else was about 6%? Puka Nacua.
Yeah, no, like I said, if you put those 3 running backs and you can take away they were highly owned, but that's okay. They got their points. They got their value. You could make that up with Puka, Justin Jefferson, or Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
And then a third receiver, I'm sure that
Tyreek,
Yes. I mean, and you could pay for all those guys. Go with a medium range defense, a medium range tight end. And it's kind of how I like to build. That was a good lineup. And, but that's the maddening part is that could very easily be Cooper Kupp. And they were right around the same price.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of have to pick one and hope that it hits. Yeah, it feels like Puka, when healthy, is getting the bulk of the targets now, though. Yeah. It does feel like that. You look at the last few weeks, it's Puka's just getting targeted all game. All right, let's wrap it up here, Rodney, with another Barry Bonds stat of the day. It's winter meetings week. By the way, congratulations for both of our baseball teams getting top 5 picks in the draft lottery. It's not quite playoff appearances and division titles and World Series, but we'll get a nice 18 or 21-year-old to hope is good next July. That's good. That's exciting. Yeah. All right, Barry Bonds stat of the day for you. So this one, I am starting to get low on this list. I found a great place that has a bunch of these stats. I might need to find a different resource here in the near future. However, we're still a long ways away from retiring Barry Bonds stat of the day because I feel like we could do this until the end of time.
Hold on. Is this from ranker.com?
No, God, no. You think I would go to that shithole? No way. Come on, man. Awful site. Don't even get me started on Ranker again. I don't want to hear that name brought up. In the meantime, though, how about this, Rodney? On a not Ranker website, since this is the 29th episode, as I'm reading this Barry Bonds stat, why don't you find me a list of 2 or 3 of the best athletes that wore number 29?
All right, I'll pull up ranker.com.
No, I specifically said not to. All right, anyway, Barry Bonds stat of the day. Barry Bonds, according to Baseball Reference's version of WAR, had a 50.1 WAR over his 7 seasons with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So this is before, the quote unquote steroids, before the 2001 to 2004, before everything that he accomplished with the San Francisco Giants. Just in his 7 years with Pittsburgh, a 50.1 WAR that was more than several Hall of Famers, including Larry Doby, Ralph Kiner, Nellie Fox, Jim Rice, and Lou Brock. Yes, that Lou Brock, Cardinal legend, had a 45.3 career WAR, about 5 fewer wins than what Barry Bonds had 7 seasons, his first 7 seasons in Major League Baseball with the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is your Barry Bonds stat of the day.
Impressive once again. So I did my homework. Right. I knew this one ahead of time. Former Rams legend Eric Dickerson.
That's who popped up in my mind too. Yeah, I'm glad that I was right there. Yeah,
very popular, number 29. Old time. Neither one of us got to see this guy hurl the ball around, but Satchel Paige wore number 29.
Mm-hmm. We're kicking it old school.
Yeah, some of the newer guys we're looking at here. Did Clay Kershaw wear 29? No. Kershaw?
No, I thought he's 22.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, so other than that, I don't have 29 is not a super popular number here. Ranker.com is the first one that came up. Rod Carew.
Oh, Rod Carew might be it.
Nathan McKinnon. Doesn't he wear 29?
Or 28. Or 29. He's 29. 29. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Nathan,
great call there.
McKinnon. I believe Adrian Beltre wore 29.
Ooh, now we're getting somewhere. That sounds right too. But Beltre also strikes me as someone who had multiple numbers, like depending on where he was. But like the Texas version, let's see. Yeah, I see 29 with the Rangers here.
Yeah,
one more with the Dodgers. So yeah, that was his number.
One more. I like this guy when he broadcast games. John Smoltz, I believe, wore 29 as well.
29 actually ended up being a lot stronger than I thought it was.
Just throwing some names out there. So, yeah, edition episode number 29. So we will get to 31 in 2024 because we got 2 more shows this year. Friday, and just the PSA, we have one Friday, 8 a.m., and we have next Tuesday, 9 p.m. And then that's it for 2024 as I do some traveling, you do some whatever you want to do, and there we are.
Some well-deserved R&R for the holidays as we slave away on these shows to deliver all the content. Takes a lot of work to do this show twice a week. I'm glad that people are starting to understand that.
Yeah, 288 viewers up there tonight.
Yeah, we have.
Yes, sir.
More than McAfee has right at this exact moment.
You see him picking his games on Sunday or Saturday on College Game Day.
He's great, man. I do enjoy it.
Yeah, I saw it after the fact because you brought up that guy I'd never heard of that was the guest picker.
Oh, okay. I want to do that at some point. Because we did this the first ever episode of the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. He plays for that team now, huh? Where I showed you a picture and I was like, oh, who's he play for? But I want to do it where I show you a picture of like a very, very popular, well-known celebrity, whether it's an actor, whether it's a musician, like whoever it is, someone that is like, oh, of course, yeah, this person is like a huge pop culture icon, and see if you know that person just by looking at them. Because I would venture to say Timothée Chalamet, if you have any sort of idea about like movies within the last 5-7 years, he's one of the most popular actors. He's dating one of the Jenners, Kylie Jenner. So like there's that huge pop culture crossover thing. And Rodney had no idea who the hell he was. No clue.
Yeah, and you get angry at it, actually.
I still think the Jason Sudeikis thing is total bullshit. I still think that this is just a long con. that you just like are still pulling my leg, because it's like that's an asinine thing to not know who Jason Sudeikis is in the year of our Lord 2024. I'll give you Chalamet, because I know you're not a huge movie guy, and he's like 26. He's he's like a Gen Z celebrity more than our age. But like Sudeikis, dude, like was on SNL. He was in like huge movies. We're the Millers and like Horrible Bosses, Ted Lasso, all these things, and you're just like, oh, who's that?
I didn't know. But I do know who he is now. I mean, I've done some research, but I definitely did not know Timothy Chalamet. Chalamet?
Nailed it. No, you nailed it. Yeah, like the new Wonka movie that came out, did that ring a bell?
My kids might watch it.
I don't know. I might have came out this year or last year, but they did like a Wonka remake. Well, he was Wonka in that.
That makes sense. So I saw. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Congratulations, Timothy.
And it's not like my Timothy with the Y. His is Timothy with the 2 E's at the end. Just extra pretentious.
Yeah, it's weird, but
it is. Those artsy types. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna do that one of these days. I'm just gonna give you photos of all of the most popular celebrities, and you got to do it. It'll play great for the audio audience later on, but.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like after Super Bowl.
I think so. I think that's good. Or maybe the week of the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know what else would be going on. What else we've talked
sounds
about.
Good.
All right, sounds good. Well, as we hit our 300th viewer, let's call it there.
Sounds good.
Take that, McAfee. We got to 300. What are you at right now, pal? All right, well, we'll talk to you again Friday morning, 8 a.m., and then we have one more show after that, one more Tuesday night show, and then we'll talk to you again in the new year. But as always, you can listen to any of our 29 shows on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and also you can follow us throughout the week at Stupid Sports Show on Twitter. I think that about covers it here. Rodney, enjoy your evening. I hope that you eventually move from the back alley back into your nice mansion. Maybe if CeeDee Lamb got that extra touchdown, you'd be back in the mansion.
Right. Yeah. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, this brick wall back behind me, looking good.
Yep. All right. Well, I'll talk to you on Friday, and I'll talk to everyone else on Friday for episode 30 of the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. See you guys.
Yeah.
Step right up, dummies, and listen to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah.